Hi there, this is Anastasia Surridge. I'm a wedding invitation designer on Zazzle in the store Elegant Invites. Today I'm going to show you how to edit the host line of a wedding invitation on Zazzle. So there's a variety of different host lines. That's the first line that is on the top of your wedding invitation, and that indicates who is actually paying for the wedding. The most common host lines on Zazzle are where the couple are paying, where the couple are paying with their parents, and where the parents are paying. The most straightforward wedding invitations are where the couple are paying and where the couple are paying with their parents, because those lines of text don't really need to be edited too much. Together with their parents is generally what's used as the host line. And when it's the couple themselves paying, it's usually just one simple line like "kindly join us for the wedding of." But where the parents are paying, you need to have a lot more lines of text. So what happens when you happen to love one design that's for where the couple are paying, but what you need to do is edit it for the hosts? That's what I'm going to show you today. So I'm just going to open this up in another window here. Now, normally what you would do is you would personalize this template by going down here and editing all of the placeholder text. In this case, what you need to do is click to customize further, because you need to open up the Zazzle Design Editor. When you do that, everything that you're working with is over here on the left. The front layer will normally open up first, but there's also the back layer or multiple layers if you have a different style of design. For example, a trifold, which has like 6 different layers. So what you need to do is find the layer that you're working on and open that up, and then highlight the layer that says intro. It's actually the host line. Now, don't worry that Zazzle is for some reason choosing to display this font in the wrong font than what the design says. So when you click on preview, you'll notice this is in a different font. This is actually Gaudi Italic, and that's Gaudi. But when you see it here, and you can see this says Gaudi Italics, but it's not showing you Gaudi Italics. Don't worry about what it shows you. It's just the display. Zazzle does that sometimes. So what you need to do to edit this is you need to make it look like this down here to match the design. Since it doesn't, what I'm going to suggest you do is, first of all, make sure that this line and this line are the same. So click on the time layer by not doing what I just did, but click on over here, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Now that's 9.53. So you want to come up here to the host line and make that 9.53. So it's the same. Now it's decided it's going to display properly. Okay, so go down here and click on the day and date and click text up here, because what we're doing is now adding a new layer of text that is exactly like this one. So click text, and inside just put the names of the hosts, Mr. and Mrs. David Johnson. If you have 2 lines of text, because you might have it where the bride's parents and the groom's parents are paying, you could also add that here. Let's say Dr. and Mrs. Marcus Williams, for example. Okay. Then what you need to do is you need to move this layer up here. Now, see these lines? When you see that your line of text makes this red line or the green line appear in the middle, then you know that your line of text is centered on the artboard, and that's very important. So just place it so it looks like there's the same amount of space between these lines of text as there is down here. And the other thing you'll need to do is just click over here and click the anchor point to the bottom. That will make sure that any adjustments that you make to this layer don't change the spacing between these. So if it's just one layer of text, for example, you can take that out and move that back, and boom. See? Now, I'm going to suggest that there's now too much space down here at the bottom for this design than there is up here, plus the words are running over the graphics. So I'm going to suggest going back to layers, taking this layer and moving it down under the corner element in the rectangle. And then this is highlighted, so if you press down the Shift key and press on the reception to follow at the bottom, it'll highlight everything else. These two groups in this particular design happen to be this graphic, that's one group, and this graphic, that's another group. The design you're working on might not have that, in which case all you need to do is the layers of text. And before you do that, you should try to find out what the groups are too. I'll show you how to do that in a second. So crikey, this is something that's annoying about Zazzle. I'm going to take these and I'm going to hide them. Because the rectangle is on top of everything else, what it wants to do is move the rectangle. It'll grab what's at the top of the rectangle. Actually, I'm just going to move this down to the bottom so that only the words are on top. Now, I can turn these back on actually. Click on Shift to the bottom and then move these down. See how that now moves independently? And now you have plenty of space between the host line and all the rest of the thing, of the invitation line. And that just looks now beautiful. Looks professional. You've got enough space up here as well as a little bit of space down here so you don't crowd it. If you had to do more, if you had to put in under the reception line, let's say you had a reception at a different location. If you had the wedding at a church, for example, and the reception was at another venue, then you're going to need more information here as well. Then you would just copy the layers. You'd copy this line and copy this line just like you did here, but move them down to the bottom. And you'd put in the information there. And in which case, all of this text would need to move up because you have more lines of text. And what you'll need to do is alter the graphic. So I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to say, move this to the top so that you can easily edit that, and do that by clicking and dragging. Then just move the mouse down to the corner, and now you can access this. So you can click and drag it to resize it so that it works for your text, depending on the placement of it. Then I would just move it down just a little bit there, and then place it underneath of that rectangle again. And there you go. Now, let's say that you have proprietary text here that's a graphic, and you want to change that as well. And isn't the only word that's used when two people get married. To is one, and with is another one, and for your particular wedding, it might require the use of different words. So in this case, you have two options. One, you can contact the designer and ask them if they can make a graphic with the word in it that you need, and then you can place it exactly in the same spot that the other one is, and then hide the other layer of text. And I'll show you how to hide that in a second. The other option is you can just copy, in this case I would say, because these are all caps, I would say go with the lowercase italics, and go up here again and text, I'm going to say with, and then place that in the middle of the names of the bride and groom. Now there's another little thing that you're going to need to do here, and you might need to do that in your design, is you're going to need to adjust the spacing of the bride and groom's name. So what you need to do in this case is come here and hide that layer by clicking on the little eyeball there, and it's gone. Now you can highlight with, hold down the control key, highlight the bride's name and highlight the groom's name, and just go up here to align selection, and distribute evenly. You want to make sure that width is right in the middle of it. See how that moved up? And now that it did, you can highlight, you need to bring these closer. Now if we brought Michael up and Heather down, you're going to have too much space here and too much space below. So what we're going to do is we're going to take width, we're going to take the bride's names, and I'm holding down control while I click on all these layers that we need. We're going to click on the introduction, the host lines, and we're going to click on the group, the wedding of. And while we have the control key pressed down, we're going to nudge it with the down arrow key, and we're going to take note of the number of times that we do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because now with the control key pressed down, we're going to click on width and deselect that, and the rest of the group is going to now come down 4 times as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that has evenly spaced the joining word with the names of the bride and groom. This also will allow for a lot more room down at the bottom. If you've done that in this particular design, this is now too crowded at the bottom and there's got too much room up at the top, so you need to go and click on all these layers again. You can press the shift key too, but the shift key will also include that group. Doesn't really matter because you're not using it, but then just move it up so it's evenly balanced with about the same amount of space here as there is at the bottom. Just look on your design and see how it looks. But it shouldn't look sort of off center. It should look nice and breezy. So I think there needs to be a little bit more room here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the groom's name, bride's name, the other layers above, and then I'm just going to up arrow that, pressing control and the up arrow key just a little bit so that it's a little bit less congested. There we go. That looks really nice. When you're happy with the design, click done. If you haven't already edited all the details on here, make sure you do that. Then go ahead and input the number of invitations you need. You don't have to order by blocks. You can backspace over this and add in just exactly the amount that you need, and then press add to cart. Thanks very much for listening. If you have any other questions, please feel free to submit them to me, and I hope this helps.